Hello, welcome to Roots and Wings. I'm here with David Solomon. David is a fractional chief revenue officer. And today we're going to talk about tips to get to discover customer pain points.
Jennifer, before we go there, though,
Yeah.
if this is someone's first time, I don't think they know who you are. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Jennifer. I'm based in Toronto, and I am a fractional chief marketing officer.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
No problem. The reason we wanted to talk about pain points is from a sales and marketing point of view, understanding your customer's pain point has to be the starting point for everything. Can't dive into a product and a solution, can't go into a sales process, can't go into marketing and communication without really understanding it. And Jennifer, I don't know your experience, but my experience is when I speak to business owners who are, even whether they're in business for 3 years or 60 years, they struggle with the question is, what are the pain points? Because more often than not, it's more than one.
Mhm,
What are they solving?
mhm,
So from a marketing point of view,
mhm.
why do you feel like what is like how do we how do we help our customers to identify
Yeah,
those pain points?
yeah. So let's talk about this pain points. This is a term. I think a lot of business owners, if you have a business, you actually know what the pain points are. You just don't know like how to express it or
Yeah.
how to, put it on paper. And in marketing, we say our communication is one to many because we want to get attention, get people into that pipeline so that you
Mhm.
can close a transaction. And so the pain point is basically communicating your value proposition to your target audience, and also will help you communicate uh, why your business exists to your own team, right? Whether it's a marketing team or sales team. And sometimes it's just on the mind of the business owner. I think they do know, they just don't know, or properly put it in the language, in the communication format that your stakeholders or your target audience understand or hit them. So that's how I see it. And David, I know that you are passionate about this topic.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
when you first mentioned to me, I'm like, pain points. And people do know what pain points are. But let's drill that
Well,
down, like to,
let me, if I may, let me just share with, some anecdotes, like some real experiences that I've dealt with recently.
yeah.
And I've dealt, like I said, I have a 60-year-old business. I'm not going to say where or what they're in. And I asked them, I said, this is wonderful what you're doing here. How are you different than your competitors?
Mm,
I don't know. Price. I'm like, no, bad answer.
mm,
My first thing is like, if you're going to go into the price war, you're lose. The only people who win are the people who purchase.
mhm,
So I said, but really, so what pain point are you solving? Let's try to figure out what your competitive advantage is by the pain point that you solve.
mhm,
And they said, but we've been doing this for 60 years. Our
mhm.
customers know what we're solving. So I said, but why aren't you answering me this question? Why are you telling me that your customers know? What is the pain point?
Yeah.
And when we went back and forth for over an hour
Mhm,
on this conversation,
mm,
when he said to me when we discovered really the true pain point that they were solving, it
mhm.
was like a great aha moment.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God, we need to think like this in the organization. We need to focus all our attention, not just to sales, but our development, our R&D, our 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 community, everything. It was like this great aha moment. And he called in his the different managers from the different departments and go, guess what we just discovered? And there was this crazy enthusiasm.
Mhm,
And you saw everyone, head of operations, head of finance, HR, kind of go,
mhm,
oh, now I get it.
mm,
And I think that this is key because if I now drill it down to a sales point, from sales,
mhm.
salespeople sound like salespeople. Why?
Mhm.
All they do is push product or service. That's
Yeah.
all they do.
Mm,
If you go to a car dealer, right?
mhm,
We talked about this in previous podcasts.
mhm,
All they do is the feature dump. We have
mhm,
windows, we have tires, we have this, we have that. Wonderful. And we do this in B2B, and we do this in B2C.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
we feature dump hoping that something hooks you.
Mhm.
When a salesperson talks like a business owner, a CEO, a founder,
Yeah.
and says,
That
listen,
that's the key.
that's the key. We recognize that in your world, this is the problem you're facing.
Mhm.
Some it's a small problem, some it's a 911 problem.
Mhm.
But we've recognized this problem, and as a result, we have this solution for you.
Mhm.
Now, you're not talking like a salesperson, you're talking like a business person. And
Mhm.
as a result, now with the clarity of, oh, now I know why you're here. Now I know why you're proposing this to me. And now I know why this is good for me
Mhm.
because there's an understanding. And I think that without this,
Mhm.
I just don't believe people can progress. I don't think
Mhm.
businesses will progress, and you'll just end up fighting a price war. And Jennifer,
Mhm.
even then,
Yeah.
you're likely to have a customer say no.
Yeah. So, David, I just wanted to do some justice to salespeople because the best salespeople I've seen are, they all act like business owners because people do have, generally speaking, people have negative, impression about salespeople because averagely speaking, we meet a lot of like, below the par
Absolutely.
salespeople, right? So they push you features and stuff like that, but really like high end or very skillful salespeople, they have empathy and they act like business owners. They point out the pain points and what the solutions are and how you benefit from that. So that's why it's very important to let the sales team understand what the pain points are.
The I'm not demeaning salespeople at all. I think
No, you're
it's
not.
not at all. What I tell salespeople, and it's just a natural thing that we just assume we know the people, whether you're going into a retail store, even when you're going to go buy clothes for children, Jennifer, and I know you're involved in that area. Okay. At the end of the day, I'm buying a t-shirt. I'm
Mhm,
not just buying a t-shirt. I
mhm,
might be solving, there might be something there. There's a reason why I need to buy a t-shirt.
mhm,
And so while the pain point, and I put that in quotation marks, might seem silly and you might think it's insignificant,
mhm,
well, there might be a reason why. And there might be a purpose for a discussion and an engagement with the customer. That goes all the way to airplanes. I mean, goes to like whatever. You can't just ignore the customer's need.
mhm,
And often, Jennifer, and I think that this is where we need to get into the investigation of how how should one
mhm,
discover
mhm,
this pain point. So
mhm,
from your experience, Jennifer,
mhm,
if you were to advise a client
mhm.
how to start,
Yeah.
what would you tell
I would look into your customer feedback mechanism
them?
and research processes.
Right.
So I know this is a solution to a problem. Usually, the problem is, our customers or our clients don't value our service. Then, when we drill it down, it's usually those two root causes. What's your feedback mechanism? Do you have a process?
Mhm.
Um, of market research. So when I say market research, some people were like, "Oh, it's big, like it's like so intellectual." It's actually not. Everybody can act as your market researcher if you
Absolutely.
have a process or feedback loop.
Mhm.
For instance, your salespeople are at the front line, right, interacting with your customers. They must know stuff. They must have the feedback, and like, what's your mechanism to get the insights from your salespeople? That can be a market research.
Well,
This is.
I tell them to my business owners that I speak to is said, listen, if you um, if you wanted to find out information
Mhm,
about your customers,
mhm,
your salespeople are a wonderful, wonderful um, group to get you information, but it's
yeah,
a bit distilled.
mhm,
Jeff Immelt, who succeeded Jack Welch as CEO of GE,
mhm,
went to go visit his clients. He went to go visit the top clients
Yeah.
and sat there and asked them outright
Mhm.
key in-depth questions. This is the CEO of General Electric who
Mhm.
went to go visit the top 20% clientele, top 10% clientele. I don't remember exactly the number, I apologize. But he went and asked questions. So you as the business owner, as the founder, CEO,
Mhm.
relying on your salespeople, your sales manager, your sales director, whomever, great idea.
Mhm.
Go out and meet your best customers and
Mhm.
have an engaging conversation.
Yeah.
Conversation. My favorite reaction, Jennifer, is like, I'm afraid they're gonna say no. I'm
Mhm.
afraid they're gonna tell me bad news.
Mhm. And this is
This is
actually good news, you know?
great information. You know, they're going to tell you why they're saying yes. Now,
Mhm.
again, I wouldn't start with my worst customer. I would start with my best customer, my
Mhm.
most loyal customer, the highest paying customer,
Mhm.
my longest standing customer,
Mhm.
whatever the criteria is,
Mhm.
and go and sit with them and saying,
Mhm.
with the guys, um, with the way I would approach them is to say is, we want to find ways to better serve you.
Mhm.
So could we talk about that? Now you're looking into more pain points. You're looking to better ways to help them out. You might discover other information, but you'll also discover why they've been relying on you as a
Mhm.
partner or as a supplier or whatever.
Mhm.
That's valuable.
Mhm.
Yes, there is AI today, which we can ask. And yes, we could read industry reports.
Yeah.
And yes, we could read the CRM, the customer relationship management software, and read what the salespeople are
Yeah.
saying. 1,000%. But
Those
nothing.
are all good sources. You know, we will have a list of methods and in our description. Uh,
Absolutely.
so we
But
can talk about shortcuts or
right. But
tips
nothing beats
to,
face-to-face engagement. Nothing beats that conversation
yeah.
because the truth will come out, business owner to business owner.
Hmm.
And even if you sell widgets, it's going to come out.
Hmm. Or from customers.
Absolutely.
And I always say to business owners, never outsource your ears and your eyes.
Great lesson. What a great lesson.
Sometimes, words and words is one aspect, and I have three shortcuts to empathy. The immersion is you actually experience what they experience.
Absolutely.
So just be them and experience that service or products. That's one. And another one is observation, because sometimes people's words and their behavior are different. So
Absolutely.
it's not like they lie. We do that all the time, right? I say this, and then my behavior is different.
Yeah.
And you need to, you need to think, why is that? Uh,
Right.
and then engage them. So that's when you said, the interviews and have a conversation.
I'll give you another step that I tell my clients too is, you know, I would also suggest that you take all of your sales team,
Mm,
and I'd also suggest take all your key managers and ask the questions. So tell me, why do our customers keep coming back? Why are they so good? Like,
mm,
what is it that makes these customers so great?
mm,
Because from there you find, well, when I spoke to so and so, you spoke to so and so,
mm,
they shared this with you.
mm,
That information doesn't always come out in our day-to-day operations.
mhm,
So sometimes our in-house team that's not in sales
mhm.
actually have had conversations and can give you feedback, and they just haven't shared it with you. It's just not because they're mean. It just, like you said,
There is no mechanism
there's
or
no
process
mechanisms, right?
internally.
So these are like simple ways of doing these things. Of course, there are other more complex methods that are really good.
Mhm.
We talked about mapping your customer journey, for example. Jennifer, that is something that's right up your alley. Like, if I were to try to do that within a company, how does one map a customer journey? I mean, that's
Yeah, we'll figure out the objective first. Because today we talk, we are talking about tips and stuff
sure.
because we are thinking about small business owners. Sometimes you don't have that kind of budget, but then you need to build that capability inside your company. so that you can do it all the time. So there are two kinds of researchers, right? One is, always on research, and that's the feedback mechanism and
Hmm.
processes that I'm talking about. The
Right.
other one is, you have a, bigger project or initiative, then let's define how to do a, separate marketing research.
Right. Right. I think one of the things that I also tell customers is when you're talking about doing your research, at the end of the day, it can be a very simple answer as to why you're what you're solving.
Yeah.
And it could be very complex, but it also could be something that your customer is not even fully aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And so having these conversations, and one of the things that, you know, we look at, we kind of like, I saved you money.
Mm,
Okay. But what you didn't think about, when you go in there saying, like, listen, I've got a great product or service, I'm going to save you money, whatever. But what you didn't take into account is the cost of change, the effort to change,
mm,
the resources to change, the willingness to change. They're not going to pay for that. So that can't be the pain point necessarily.
mm,
But if you say we save you time, we save you resources, now you're getting into really fundamental business solutions. If you can make them work faster, better, more efficient, that's what they're looking for. The
yeah.
cost savings will come at the end, but they
Mm,
hear from every supplier, or almost every supplier,
mhm,
we're cheaper, we're better, we're this, that, and they don't believe it.
mm,
Okay, they won't believe you. What they will believe, though, is if you understand especially this in B2B more than B2C.
mm,
I understand your processes. We've analyzed your processes. This is where we're going to be, unlocking a bottleneck, or we will, reduce your work capacity, or we can something that helps them to be better.
mhm,
That's what they're looking for. So please take the time and really drill down and challenge yourselves till you get a solution. Like, there's the method of the 7 whys. I think,
mhm,
we've talked about this also in a previous, and so all we're saying is, very simply put, ask yourself why. So, well, oh, we solved this. Why do we solve time?
mhm,
Why? Why do
mhm,
we why do we solve this bottleneck? Keep asking that question, because at the end of the day, when we can communicate, this is what we're solving, and I'm making a box for those of you listening on audio, like this little box, because really it's very finite.
mm,
It can be multiple pain points. I say this again, it may not necessarily be one. You might be going from multiple pain points from multiple stakeholders, whether it's employees or customers or you name it. Because
mm,
I have another customer, I'll share the story, where their solution offers engagement, like a better relationship connection
mhm,
with employees,
mhm,
customers, suppliers, and shareholders.
mhm,
Those are four different, it's the same pain point, but four different pain points at the same time. So it's
mhm,
not just, um, you gotta think outside the box, inside the box. Like, you gotta just keep going and going and going.
mhm,
And then it becomes clear. Okay,
mhm.
the research will support it.
Yeah.
Mind map, the mapping of the journey will support it, all that. But really, really challenge yourself. Don't come up with the easy solution.
Mhm. Easy won't help you with competition because everybody can do the easy part. And yeah, I'm listening to you like, I think I have them I have this graph, like, then you will have a matrix of value proposition for each channel
Mhm.
for different target audiences.
Right.
Until you have that clarity, then you can communicate to internal teams, to your sales team, to your marketing team, how to communicate and how to close deals, right?
100%. But, and it goes back to what I've said many times during these podcasts. We
Mhm,
spend a lot of time emphasizing the close,
mhm,
and salespeople are getting closing techniques, and
mhm,
here's how you should ask for the order and
mhm,
whatever. Reality is, if I've understood the pain point clearly,
mhm,
and I can explain it to the customer, and they understand that I understand it,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm empathetic,
Yep.
as you said, that I have, I'm so um I can walk in their shoes. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
taken a walk in their shoes, so I know their pains.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're listening to your solution
Mm-hmm.
way more
Mm-hmm.
and are willing to pay you more
Mm-hmm.
if you've got that solution. So and then the close will happen much easier.
Yeah.
But we do the reverse. We go to the end of the process
Yeah.
and skip such an important part.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how does marketing communicate? We know how to solve this problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
we're just
I,
we're
I
just shortcuts.
yeah, if businesses spend a bit more time, discover what the problems are, what the pain points are, and
Hmm.
later on, it will make your marketing and sales effort or costs much lower. So we talked about, then yeah, the business owners always wanted to know how, and we touch upon some, tips, right? The three shortcuts to
Hmm.
empathy. And
Right.
remember, your feedback mechanism and processes, you need to set those up. And
Hmm.
these days, you can ask AI for it, or you can
Hmm.
ask us to do it with you or for you. And those, the even with research, there are different techniques and various techniques and skill sets. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, different people, when you ask different questions, you're gonna get different results. So I just, yeah, we are not always about talking big words, like pain points, because everybody, not everybody knows. And yeah, for some business owners um, I work with, and they're very advanced in
Sure.
understanding all the frameworks and theories. Uh, then you know I saw in detail communication or research, or it's
Hmm.
people um, keep building your capabilities. That's the key. If something's not working, then question, is my skill set or my team skill set up for that task?
I got to tell you, as companies are growing and are scaling, it gets more
Mhm,
and more complicated. It sounds easier. I
mhm,
think this is where you and I started our conversations months and months ago.
yeah.
That scaling sounds easy, it isn't easy.
Mhm,
And while you don't, if you do not have a fundamental understanding, and we're not talking big words and frameworks, and this is not the MBA where we're sitting here going, oh,
okay.
you bring in these highfalutin consultants, and that we're talking about basic fundamental business. And when you launch the business, folks, you didn't think this way. And it wasn't your fault. You had a
Mhm.
great idea, you launched,
Yeah, it worked.
and it worked.
Yep.
But when you're ready to scale, now you got to get sharper, and now you got to get tighter. And you're hiring salespeople, and you're hiring marketing people, and you're hiring more people. And if they don't understand, then it all falls on you. There's
Mhm,
no wonder, and I love this quote, that the best salesperson,
mhm,
ambassador, is
mhm,
always the founder or the CEO.
mhm,
And they've embraced it and they get it. And there's emotion, there's
mhm,
passion,
mhm,
there's empathy, as you said, but there's definitely an understanding.
mhm,
And if without it, we're not going to grow.
mhm.
The second thing is, though, the pain point in your current market is not necessarily the pain point in the new market.
Yeah.
So this
Or,
exercise has
or
to
in the future.
is yeah, it's a continuous evolution. It's a continuous with technology changes, with political changes and
Mhm,
other changes.
mhm,
Are there changes that the pain points have created?
mhm,
If I'm, if you look at different industries, right now we have these, depending on when you're listening to this podcast, folks, we have a threat of tariffs.
mhm,
How much does that now impact your business? Does your pain point change because of these tariffs? And are there opportunities now for you because of these tariffs, or does it hurt? You need to always, always, always go back, annually, quarterly, whatever it is, and rethink this. Are we still addressing the same pain point? By
mhm,
the way, if you're still selling video cassettes, your pain point is no longer valid. If you're selling DVDs, your pain point is no longer valid. Okay. And so this is why we're saying it changes and evolves. So if you want to be blockbuster, you don't do anything. But if you want to be Netflix, you got to be pivoting, and you always have to think of pain points.
Mhm.
That's really the why where I'm so passionate about figure this out,
Yeah,
because it just unblocks you. You'll feel lighter.
yeah,
Your organization will have focus. It's not a vision mission statement. It's a clarity of what you're addressing,
yeah.
that everybody is focused on those pain points. And I
Mhm,
think that is my aha moment for this
mhm.
for this podcast is
Yeah,
this is the clarity that's going to just unlock real growth.
yeah. So yeah, we also want to know, like, on your journey to discover pain points, what kind of problems or challenges do you have that, we can answer? Uh, that's what I'm wondering.
Listen, folks, if you have something that you would like to, like your journey, put them in the comments right here, in on this YouTube channel. We'd
Yeah,
love to hear from you what you've experienced,
yeah.
and when you discover that pain point,
Mhm.
what did that do for you in your business? What
And
did it
how to set up the, feedback mechanism or research processes internally,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
just ask us, and we can share.
And look, folks, one of the things that both Jennifer being a fractional CM Chief Marketing Officer and myself being a fractional Chief Revenue Officer is we do help organizations to discover this pain point. It's not necessarily obvious, and often it needs to be challenged, which is hard. But
Mhm,
one of the things that we both have done very successfully with the businesses we've worked with is to create clarity, that the journey ahead of you is clear, it's not murky.
mhm,
So if you are looking for, some guidance, reach out to us. All
mhm.
of our contact information is in the description. We'd love to connect with you.
Yeah.
Jennifer, I guess we should wrap up today's podcast.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Folks, Roots and Wings, if you haven't listened to our previous podcast, we welcome you to listen to them. There's always something there. Even if you've heard it 6, 7 months ago, listen again. We're always talking about something that can just take your business to the next level.
Mhm.
So, speaking of the next level, we look forward to speaking to you at our next podcast. Stay well and have a wonderful and profitable day.
Yeah. Happy holidays.